It's 6 p.m. Eastern in the frozen tundra, otherwise known as New York City. It's time for the Daily Wrap. And welcome to the Wrap, everybody. I'm Joe Concha, joined tonight by talk radio diva goddess and cable news regular Mary Walters here. And he writes for Forbes magazine, has a radio show with Michael Steele on Sirius XM Radio Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, and was once Mel Brooks' college roommate. Who knew? Rick Unger, everybody.
You can call me the college roommate, but you never called me a diva goddess. I got a problem with
That will be on Monday's show. And finally, she's a Democratic political consultant and strategist at Douglas Schoen, LLC. Jessica Tarloff joins us. All right. Thank you, Jessica. It's time for the Daily Download. As we reported last night, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani has gotten himself into a little bit of hot water when he told Scott Walker supporters at the famous 21 Club here in New York City that, quote, Obama doesn't love America. Democrats didn't miss a beat, and yes, here's the quote from Mr. Giuliani. I do not believe, and I know this is a horrible thing to say, but I do not believe that the president loves America, doesn't love you, doesn't love me, wasn't brought up the way you were brought up, and I was brought up through love of this country, end quote. Democrats didn't miss a beat and immediately slammed the former mayor. Here is DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
A leader of the Republican Party said that the president doesn't love us and doesn't love the country. If the Republican Party really wants to be taken seriously, really wants to avoid its problems of the past, now is the time for its leaders to stop this kind of nonsense.
Every time Debbie's on TV, my wife screams at the television, Keratin! Keratin, it's the hair straightener. Meanwhile, on the Lawrence O'Donnell show on MSNBC, liberal radio host Stephanie Miller also equated Giuliani's comments to, get this, using the N-word to a black person.
The president, I don't recall the president saying that America was the leader of the Crusades. I missed that part.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, Lawrence, I think whenever someone starts a sentence with, this is going to be horrible, it's like when someone says, I'm not a racist, but N-word for black person. I'm not a homophobe, but F-word for gay person. I'm not a sexist, but C-word for woman. That's what this is. He absolutely is saying the president doesn't love America. And as Alice pointed out, the president's speech that we all remember, he said, only in America could my story be possible. In every speech. Barack Obama is a walking endorsement for what the United States of America is. And this is just another example of the unprecedented disrespect that this president has gotten.
See, Stephanie uses keratin, a nice straight brunette, looking good, Steph. Anyway, already, everybody needs to simmer down. And in all seriousness, the former mayor joined Megyn Kelly last night on Fox News to clarify his comments.
Mr. Mayor, do you want to apologize for your comment?
Not at all. I want to repeat it. The reality is, from all that I can see of this president, all that I've heard of him, he apologizes for America. He criticizes America. He talks about the Crusades and how the Christians were barbarians, leaves out the second half of the sentence, that the Muslims were barbarians also. He sees Christians slaughtered and doesn't stand up and hold a press conference, although he holds a press conference for the situation in Ferguson. He sees Jews being killed for anti-Semitic reasons, doesn't stand up and hold a press conference. This is an American president I've never seen before.
But Rudy wasn't finished there.
I don't hear from him what I heard from Harry Truman, what I heard from Bill Clinton, what I heard from Jimmy Carter, which is these wonderful words about what a great country we are, what an exceptional country we are. When he called us an exceptional country, he said we're an exceptional country, but so is Greece. Back 3,000 years ago.
Doesn't mean he doesn't love America.
Well, I haven't.
A lot of liberals don't believe in American exceptionalism, but that doesn't mean they don't love America.
Well, I don't feel it. I don't feel it. I don't feel this love of America.
So Mary Walter, we had a conservative on the show last night, Carl Higbie, former Navy SEAL, who agreed with Mr. Giuliani, thinks that the president doesn't love this country, says many in the military feel the same way. Your thoughts?
Well, has he ever mentioned anything about Chris Kyle?
No, I haven't heard much about Chris Kyle, the American sniper.
About Chris Kyle? No, he hasn't. And listen, Giuliani is entitled to his opinion. We all are. That's his opinion. And whenever the Democrats, especially Debbie Wasserman Schultz, makes a big deal about something, And especially when they trot out it's racist, then I start to think that maybe he's onto something. Because they are rushing to squash this. And this could have been nothing. This could have just been like, oh, it's his opinion, who cares?
No, it couldn't
And
be
wait a
nothing.
minute.
It could not
It's
be
too
nothing.
offensive to be nothing.
Yeah.
And having a pastor baptize your kids
That was
who
a-
says God,
that was
goddamn
offensive,
America
too.
is offensive.
But liberals
having
think that was offensive, too.
Yeah.
But that was not supposed to be a big deal. We were supposed to gloss
No.
over that. Having a wife who says, I can finally be proud of my country. What does that tell you? Was she not proud of it up until that point? Obama came out and said he wants to fundamentally change America. Well, if I told you I want to fundamentally change you, would you think I felt warm and fuzzy about you?
Mary makes a point,
Yeah,
Rick.
you know what? First of all, you don't have to be a Democrat to be offended by what Rudy Giuliani had to say. So let's clarify that. Secondly, what's that?
I don't find it offensive.
Well, you don't. I think you'll find
The
many
office of the
Americans
President
do.
of the United States is
Second-
the highest office in the.
Yeah,
in
the second point. I lost my second.
I'm sorry.
point.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
One at a time, people.
I got to tell you, I have a problem every time an argument is countered by saying, well, look at what his guy did. Two wrongs don't make a right. When we found out about Obama's preacher, I was extremely negative about it, wrote about him, said I didn't like the way he spoke about this country. That's not an excuse for Rudy to say what he said. Rudy doesn't know what's in Barack Obama's heart. And when somebody, you know what Rudy knows? He knows that he got every single show on Fox yesterday. That's what he knows. He needed a dose of PR.
You don't think he believed?
Yes, I do.
Rick, you don't think he believed what he said? He was just doing it because he's
If he
craving
did
attention?
believe it, I know him. He's smart enough to keep it to himself because we don't do that in this country. We don't say that our leaders don't love our country. We criticize that you know what out of them, but we don't say that they don't love their country.
Jessica, are we going into a territory like we saw with Donald Trump when he started questioning the president's birth certificate, and then it becomes a
I don't think it's
birther
quite
movement?
birther level, but
Okay.
I think it's really misguided. And also, I mean, he's supposed to be out there talking about Scott Walker, right? I mean, criticize the president for ineffectual policies. I mean, there are a litany of them that he could pick on at this moment. But why go out there and attack something that also the president has spoken to? I mean, his 2004 DNC speech was all love for America. And he is a walking endorsement of that. Hear him talk about immigration, that's love for this country and what this country is about.
Mary, last word.
Here's the thing. Actions speak louder than words. When was the last time you saw him at a military hospital on a weekend of his own accord to visit the troops? When was it? He
Does
didn't
that
say
mean he
anything about
doesn't love
Chris
his country?
He
Criticize
doesn't
him as
come
a
off
president.
As genuine. He doesn't come off as
nonsense.
genuine. I'm sorry.
Listen, I criticize George Bush every day of his life as a president. I would never even think to myself that he didn't love his country.
I think it's how he comes off. I think it's a perception problem.
And that'll have to be the last word on that topic. I have a feeling we'll be talking about it again. Coming up next, Governor Chris Christie takes the polar bear plunge in the polls. We'll have the details next. This is the Daily Wrap, only on Newsmax TV.